I didn't have my best game week in game week 5. I scored 47 points and I'm in 2.4 million overall, which is actually still a little green arrow. I can put that behind me because my wild card is active for game week 6. And I'm going to talk you through my transfer plans and obviously my wild card draft. All right, I'm going to start the video just by having a look at how my team got on in Game Week 5 and also talk about how many transfers. Well, I got 4 free transfers, 3.3 million in the bank, and why I'm deciding to wildcard rather than, use the 4 free transfers to bring in players that I want. So, yeah, like I said, 47 points, 2.4 million overall. A really disappointing game week for Sanchez. -3, obviously conceding goals, plus the red card. I had Dubravka on my bench. Before, on the deadline stream, I was sort of 40-60 or 60-40, sorry, in favour of starting Sanchez over Dubravka, just because I thought Man United have not been great this season. I wouldn't put it past Chelsea to get a win and maybe keep a clean sheet at Old Trafford, but obviously that didn't happen. And I don't know how the game would have gone, to be honest, if Sanchez didn't get sent off, but there you go. The thing for me now with Sanchez, Maresca was already saying in his press conferences before that game that there's a chance that we could see Sanchez bench because there's loads of games and loads of fixtures. Jorgensen was going to get some game time at some point. But if he's saying that and then Sanchez makes a big error like that and gets sent off, that, for me, puts Sanchez just as a total doubt in terms of whether, he's only going to get a 1-game ban, so he'll serve that in the EFL Cup and then be back ready, available for game week 6. But at the same time, is he actually going to start after that error? I don't know. And that would put him at risk for me. So seeing that happen, honestly, on Saturday was the final straw for me to hit the button. Anderson and Richards, both racking up DEFCON again. They didn't keep clean sheets, but they still both scored 4 points. I'm really happy with the two of those. Pedro Porro, he's done all right for me. I mean, a 1-pointer, they conceded 2 v Brighton. He's not really getting attacking returns or DEFCON, which is obviously an issue. But I just don't see why I'd spend 5.5 million on a Tottenham defender when you've got Romero, for example, who's getting more DEFCON than him for 5. Van de Ven, who's obviously keeping the same amount of clean sheets as him for like 4.7, I think he is now. I just don't see the need to spend the extra on Porro. So he's one that I could potentially take out. Nico Williams, he got his goal. I'm really over the moon about that, to be honest. That probably saved my game week, to be honest, that Nico Williams, the Nico Williams 10-pointer. Very happy that happened. But I do think under Ange, I'm not as convinced by the Nottingham Forest defence. They've got a lot of injuries. Murillo's out, Aina's out. That's really damaging to them defensively, I think. And obviously, Ange ball is certainly not defensive first like Nuno ball was. So, yeah, for me, I think Nico Williams' time in my team is done. Semenyo, I'll take the 5 points. Salah, obviously, just an assist is my captain. It's fine. I'll take it. Bruno Fernandes with a goal. We'll take that. Watkins and João Pedro both blanking, and obviously Rodgers blanking as well. These two, absolute bane of my existence at the moment, Rodgers and Watkins. 5 games in, they haven't done anything. Rodgers has been, he hasn't even amassed even 1 expected goal involvement. Watkins just over 1. They got Fulham, Burnley, Tottenham next 3, but Villa just look absolutely hopeless. And I was saying, I think I said this on my Buy and Avoid video I made on Saturday evening, but if they blank 1 more week, they've got to go. And that happened. So I'm looking at potentially already 5 players in my team that I want to get rid of, right? Sanchez, Porro, and I'm going to get rid of Porro to allow someone else to come into my team. I need the money. Nico Williams, Rodgers, and Watkins, and Mark Gu as well. So on Saturday, I know shouldn't really be a factor that defines transfers, but Mark Gu was going to go down to 4.3 million as well. So I had those 5 players I wanted to get rid of, and Mark Gu that was about to go down in price. With my 4 free transfers, for me that was justification to use the wildcard, because I'll use the wildcard and then come game week 7, I'm going to have 4 transfers. So I've got a wildcard and then sort of a mini wildcard after that. So yeah, for me that was the justification to make the move. And also, I don't like making early transfers, being like worried about price changes. But if I'm on my wildcard, I've used the word wildcard about 10 times this video already. But if I'm using the chip, price changes are really going to impact things, because I'm going to be bringing in like 4 or 5 different players, and all of the players that I'm going to bring in are going to be popular this week. They're going to not just be bought by me. So I anticipate that maybe half of them, 2 or 3 of the 5 that I'm bringing in, may well go up in price. So yeah, with that in mind, it made sense. I played the chip actually on Saturday evening and put together an initial draft. And I'll talk you through my thought process with some of the picks now. Before I do that, I just wanted to very quickly say that all of the stats and data you're going to see associated with these players today comes from Fantasy Football Hub. If you want to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub, use the link at the top of the description below. I'll get you 50% off the sign-up fee. And if you prove to Fantasy Football Hub that for some reason you haven't won your mini league this season, they'll give you your money back. So Fantasy Football Hub, link at the top of the description below. All right then, so I'm going to talk through kind of players that I want in each position, right? First up, DEFCON in terms of defenders, right? I want to get more defenders in my team that are achieving DEFCON on the regular. My favourite is actually Senesi because he is achieving DEFCON, I think, the most of any defender in the game, and he's still sub 5 million. Bournemouth are also seemingly fairly solid defensively, even though they've had a massive transformation of their defence with both Sabani and Howson leaving. They still seem to have the ability to keep clean sheets. So Senesi, he is absolutely nailed on any wildcard draft I put together. James Tarkowski, I also really like, but he's 5.5 million. And in some teams, I just haven't been able to fit him in. But he's another one that I really admire and like. And last season, he had the points he picked up last season were proof that he's a DEFCON monster as well. He hit it ridiculous amount of times last season, and he's got it in every game so far this season. And Joachim Andersen as well. He missed it in game week 1, but all the other game weeks he's hit it, and by some as well. He's averaging 11.2 DEFCON per game now. He's going to be in pretty much every draft I make as well. One that I wouldn't necessarily call a DEFCON monster, because I think he's hit it 2 of 5 games so far. But I really like the look of Chris Richards as well. And comparing him to Anderson maybe, Anderson's obviously not hit the DEFCON every game. I personally feel that the Crystal Palace defence is a little bit better than Fulham's. So whilst he might not hit DEFCON as much as Anderson, I think he's going to keep more clean sheets. So the points in odds sort of balance out. So yeah, I definitely want some of these DEFCON players in my team when I'm playing my wild card. Another one that I really like, a midfielder, is Iliman Ndiaye. So he's got 3 attacking returns from his 5 appearances so far. I'm going to keep banging on about this guy. It was Rodri in weeks gone by, but I don't think Rodri's quite hit the mark, to be honest. I apologise for that one. But Iliman Ndiaye, 3 attacking returns in 5 appearances at 6.5 million. I think it's just a good return anyway, right? But the thing that's really impressing me about Ndiaye is not just the 3 returns, it's his DEFCON as well. So obviously the cutoff for a midfielder to get the DEFCON bonus of 2 is 12. He's hit that twice, and he's averaging, that's basically 11 DEFCON per game. He's playing as a winger. So 3 attacking returns, getting decent DEFCON. I'd say he's probably going to hit it a third of the time, something like that would be my projection for the rest of the season. And he's on penalties. I don't think he's had a penalty to take yet, but he's, I believe, the Everton designated penalty taker. So what you've got here is 3 attacking returns in 5 games, penalty taker, and probably the best sort of attacking player, bar Bruno Fernandes, for DEFCON. So, yeah, I really like Iliman Ndiaye, and he is in every single wildcard draft I've been making. Now, the next debate for me is whether you have Salah in your team or not, right? So I've got a couple of options in terms of a wildcard draft. One is, I'm going to show first how my team looks at the moment, and it's got Salah in it. The other one doesn't have Salah, which I think they're both good teams, but it's just a question of whether you want Salah in or not. Now, you look at the stats. Haaland's, if you're not having Salah, you've got to have Haaland, right? And you look at game week 6 and 7, Burnley at home and Brentford away for Haaland, Crystal Palace away and Chelsea away for Salah. You think 6 and 7, Haaland is probably by far and away the best captain. And actually, I'm just comparing their stats. Salah's XG, 1.22 from 5 games and 0.69 expected assists. Whereas Haaland, he's on 6.2 XG, and he's obviously netted 6 goals as well. So the stats, Salah's stats pale in comparison to what Haaland's been doing this season as well. So I do think when you look at the stats, there's justification not to have Salah in your team. But Salah is Salah. He broke the FPL point scoring record last season. He's not looked... I don't know if it's him not playing well or just his role in the slot system not being... he's not sort of that absolute talisman in attack in the games that I've seen at least. Maybe he just needs time to get up to speed. But I look at the game week 8 fixture and I think, well, Salah could be the best captain there. Man United at home, Salah just absolutely savages Man United every time he plays them. And Everton at home for Haaland, I think could be tricky, especially if Branthwaite is back. I don't know. I just think Man United at home for Salah might be a better fixture than Everton for Haaland. Might be wrong there. Let me know what you think of that in the comments if you want to debate with me. But yeah, that's just something to think about. I'm definitely having Haaland in my team. I'm on the cusp of having, well, yeah, on the edge of having Salah. I put this graphic together for the wildcard draft video I made earlier on as well. But I think this is my thoughts on, you know, assets that I'm picking in my wildcard. Basically, sort of my wildcard shortlist. There are 5 players that I can safely name are going to be in every single wildcard draft I put together, right? Antoine Semenyo, I think he's probably the best midfielder in the game right now, to be honest. Njai, he's obviously hit DEFCON. I've spoken about him. João Pedro, purely because he's gone up in price. I bought him for 7.5 million. He's now 7.8. If I were to sell him, I get absolutely shafted in terms of price changes. And also, I think he's probably the best sort of sub 8 million striker in the game. So he's been in every wildcard draft I put together. Senesi, his price point is really good. And yeah, I just think in general, he's going to be really strong. Haaland, he's in every draft because I think he's the best captain for the next couple of weeks. The whole reason, basically, I'm playing this wildcard is to get Haaland into my team because structurally it's not ready for him yet. I need to make multiple moves to get him in. And then there's also these Njai, Senesi and some other fringe players that I don't currently have that I want to get a piece of. In terms of fringe assets, I've just noticed there's a mistake there on Bruno Fernandes. It's not the correct fixture, but it's still on the fringe. Anderson, it's a debate whether Chris Richards or Anderson is better. They're in both of the drafts. Both of them are in some of the drafts I put together, and then there's only one in others. Raya and Gabriel, I think the Arsenal defence, even though they conceded to Man City, I think they are probably still the strongest defence in the league. They've got Newcastle away, but that fixture doesn't bother me, to be honest. Just, you keep them, the Arsenal defence is just set and forget, right? You play them in every game and they'll just rack up clean sheets. Sometimes in the best games, in, you know, the harder games, and sometimes they might concede the odd goal, but I still think they're the best defence in the league, basically. Can't ignore the Arsenal defence. Tarkowski, I spoke about him. In Caicedo and Anderson, you've got 2 midfielders, sort of sub 6 million, that are getting a sort of average amount of attacking returns in DEFCON. I would also say Reinders is on this list as well. In fact, Reinders is actually in one of these drafts. Salah, I said, you know, you could probably go with him, could probably go without him. Gyökeres, I look at Arsenal's fixtures in sort of game week 8 and 9 horizon. They got Burnley and Sunderland in a couple of games in a row, where he could arguably be the best captain, Gyökeres, so I think he's got to be in there. Bruno Fernandes, he's not in every wildcard draft I've played around with, but I just think his strengths are clear, right? Scored a good goal against Chelsea, getting himself far forward, sort of, I don't know, dispelling the rumours that he's a defensive midfielder in some ways. He's on penalties, you know, he's super creative, super attacking for United, and he'll get DEFCON. Anderson is ticking the box with Caicedo, and I spoke about Richard. So that's a quick explanation of some of the players that are absolutely locked into every wildcard draft I've made, and then a few that are kind of on the fringe. The team you're looking at now, by the way, gets a 93% AI rating from Fantasy Football Hub. Again, check out Fantasy Football Hub, link at the top of the description below. And this is what my team in the FPL game looks like right now. I didn't want to sell Reinders because he's gone up in price since I owned him. And if I wanted to buy him back, I wouldn't have any money. This team has 0.0 million in the bank for me. Team value, it varies between player to player in the game, or person to person play in the game, right? So it's hard for me to nail down, or I don't think it's worth presenting it, but that's what happens if I sell Reinders. So I've stuck him in rather than Caicedo or Anderson. I've actually gone for Petrovic in goal, which I think is a little bit of a rogue move, but in order to fit all of these players in, I couldn't have a 5 million keeper. And I think I'm looking at all the 4.5 million keepers in the game. I think he's probably the best. He's going to get saves, I think, in the more difficult game. And I backed Bournemouth to keep the odd clean sheet here or there for the same reason that I picked Senesi. So why not, in my mind, have Petrovic? Joachim Anderson is in there. 4.5 million, DEFCON monster. Villa away, on the face of it, is a tough fixture, but actually Villa have been really struggling to score goals, so there could well be a clean sheet coming there. I've dropped Pedro Porro to Van de Ven. I just don't see the need to spend 0.8 million more on Porro when Van de Ven is getting similar, if not more, returns. I think he's going to get probably more DEFCON and maybe even more attacking returns with how much Tottenham are prioritising their set pieces. I've gone for Salah with this team. Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, Njai and Reinders. Haaland and João Pedro up front. And on my bench, Dubravka, Richards, Esteve and Fraser from Wolves. I replaced Mark Gu with another cheap forward in Fraser because I'm just kind of praying that Fraser doesn't go down in price. So that's wildcard draft number 1 for me. And that is what my team in the game is looking like right now. The other draft is no Salah, but an upgrade in pretty much every position. So I've got Raya and Gabriel in goal instead of Petrovic and Van de Ven. Tarkowski comes in for Anderson. Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes and Njai are still in this midfield. I've gone for Kudus to complement them. I'm not absolutely massive on Kudus, but he seems to be the Tottenham forward or attacking player that's getting the most minutes at the moment. All the rest, I think, have doubts or have been benched already in the Premier League. Haaland and João Pedro locked in. They've gone for Gyökeres as well. So no Salah basically gets you an upgrade to Tarkowski on Anderson, a double Arsenal defence in Gyökeres, or you could have Salah in the weaker defence in 2 up front, basically. Bench is the same. Dubravka, Richards. Actually, a slightly better bench on this because King is playing rather than Fraser, who isn't for Wolves. So a Steven and King on the bench as well. So yeah, they both get the same AI rating from Fantasy Football Hub. I'm just in 2 minds about which one is best. Like I said, I've got Reinders in this one, and I don't want to sell him and lose the money. So this is how my team looks at the moment. But this could be how it looks if I don't want to have Salah in it. So I'm just deciding between those 2 drafts at the moment. I'll probably lock it down when I make my team selection video later on in the week. All right, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. If you did, please leave me a like rating. Let me know in the comments if there's any changes you'd make to that wildcard team. I can't reverse the wildcard decision now, and I don't want to be honest. I'm fairly confident I've made the right call to use it this week, especially with my 4 free transfers in hand. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video and want to see more content from me, you can subscribe to the Golden Goal channel. Should be around there on your screen. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.